of the role play exercise. In this lesson, we shall discuss the following topics. What is the general concept of the role play and simulation? What are the assumptions in the SES RPE? What competencies are measured in the RPE? What are the possible scenarios? And what is the best way to approach the SES RPE? The role play exercise, or RPE, is a form of behavioral assessment that is included in the SES Assessment Center. In the RPE, the candidate takes a specific role, assuming a profile of a character or personality, and interacts and participates in diverse and complex assessment settings. The CESB cannot afford to hire professional actors for the exercise. As such, the assessors themselves act out the part. Definition of terms. When we talk of RPE in the SES Assessment Center, we are actually referring to two terms. With role play, candidates assume characters and act out scenarios, typically without any scripts. These spontaneous scenarios can be situated in reality or ones they are unfamiliar with. Candidates must choose creativity and critical thinking to further get into their roles. A simulation is a form of role play, but more structured. In simulations, scenarios are much more complex and more situated in real life. Also, candidates may assume other characters or play themselves. There might be more formal game rules to follow and fewer decisions to make. In the SES RPE, the terms roleplay and simulation are sometimes used inconsistently or interchangeably. However, simulations often involve a familiar or realistic situation in which a participant's role may not be as prominent or distinctive as it would be in a role play. Frequently, simulations incorporate role play, leading to the term role playing simulation. The difference is generally one of degree rather than kind. What are the advantages of the RPE? The RPE, as a structured learning exercise, is flexible and controllable, and assessors find they can design suitable and varied events within it. The blended assessment environment can provide candidates with a virtual or physical setting where candidates and assessor actors can deliver content and interact in a simulated environment. Role play is an excellent means of evaluating decision making and interpersonal communication skills. Role play is particularly useful to candidates who will operate in a tense professional environment. Role plays help assessors evaluate candidates' ability to work under pressure and with others. With online structured learning exercise, candidates can role play virtually and safely, especially in this current health crisis. Now, what are the characteristics of the RPE? The RPE is described as having the following characteristics. It is designed to increase understanding of real life human interactions and dynamics. Participants assume someone else's role or place themselves in someone else's situation. Participants undertake authentic tasks in an authentic context. The task involves substantial in-role interaction with other roles for collaboration, negotiation, and debate. Interaction between roles takes place online or face to face. Assumptions number one. There is a probability that this exercise will be done online. Assumption number two. It can be a mix of role play and simulation. Assumption number three. It is a one on one interface. Based on these assumptions, our role as coaches is to train you to act strategically in an online RPE, which is a mix of role play and simulation in a one on one setting. We shall provide you tips on how to approach the RPE, starting from the preparation point to the actual exercise simulation. As we walk you through the exercise, we shall pause for pointers to maximize your performance with caution and tact. The RPE demands a high degree of sensitivity and creativity, the absence of which means your failure or poor performance. We don't highlight on your acting abilities, but on your ability to demonstrate the traits of a good manager, especially in negotiation. What competencies are measured in the RPE? Strategic and critical thinking. Establishing strategic direction. This competency involves problem analysis, decision making, and planning skills. All management skills are partly useful in this area, which is more in integration. Now, what is strategic and critical thinking? Any skills that enable you to use critical thinking to solve complex problems and plan for the future. These skills are essential to accomplish organizational objectives, overcome obstacles, and address challenges, particularly if they are projected to take weeks, months, or even years to achieve. Leading in a continuously changing environment. Under this competency, we have leading change, coaching and developing others, and empowerment or delegation. The title actually refers to leadership. In our review, leadership skills are considered embodied in management skills. What is leadership? It is the ability of a manager to induce the subordinates to work with confidence and zeal. It is the potential to influence behavior of others. It is also defined as the capacity to influence a group towards the realization of a goal. Linkaging and networking. Under this competency, navigating politics and cultivating networks. Government executive positions revolve around political dimensions. A candidate must have the social skills to navigate through politics in creating or nurturing networks or linkages with all concerned entities. What is linkaging and networking? They seem to have different or opposing meanings in organizational literature. Some say one or the other involves loose relationships or the opposite. One is formed by contracts or by mere understanding. It does not matter which is which. What is important are the skills that come with linkaging or networking with other organizations. Under planning and organizing for greater impact, we have driving execution and integrity. Obviously, this title refers to two of the major functions of management, planning and organizing. What is planning and organizing? To the untrained eye, planning and organizing look very similar. Both words might even be used interchangeably in casual conversation. However, There is an important difference between planning and organizing in the workplace. Planning involves making decisions, and organizing involves acting on those decisions. Organizing also means arranging items or actions in an orderly manner, which is crucial to planning. Under driving performance for integrity in service, we have the following: work standards, integrity, passion for results, customer focus, and communicating with impact. Work standard. It is the setting of high standards of performance for self and others, assuming responsibility and accountability for successfully completing assignments or tasks, self imposing standards of excellence rather than having standards imposed. Integrity. It is the practice of being honest and showing a consistent and uncompromising adherence to strong moral and behavioral principles and values. In ethics, integrity is regarded as the honesty and truthfulness or accuracy of one's actions. Passions for results or results oriented. Results orientation is a term used to describe a person's ability to recognize what results are important and what steps need to be taken to achieve them. It is an important skill as it can be pivotal to the success of an organization. Customer focus. It involves putting yourself in your customer's shoes and focusing on the needs, wants, and expectations of your customers. Understanding things from your customer's perspective allows you to deliver an exceptional customer experience. Communication with impact or effective communication. It is defined as the ability to convey information to another effectively and efficiently. Managers with good verbal, nonverbal, and written communication skills help facilitate the sharing of information between people within an organization for its benefit. How much time is given for the SES RPE? The RPE runs for an hour exclusive of preparation time. What is the standard procedure of the SES RPE? 1. You will be given a briefing document that outlines the scenario and your objectives and will be given 15 minutes to prepare. 2. You will then begin the role play with the assessor actor. And lastly, at the end of the exercise, you will be scored on your performance and that feedback will be factored into the cumulative results of the assessment center. What are the possible scenarios? There can be as many scenarios that assessment center designers can create, but in the SES Assessment Center, these are the favorite scenarios. Watch out for the variations on these themes. Scenario number 1, the media interview. You are the director of a regional, provincial unit of a department of the national government. You will receive in your office an impolite media interviewer who is complaining about a project that is affecting residents in the local government unit. The media personality is now threatening to make use of the story in a television program and elevate the issue to the main office of your department. Your objective is to resolve the issue with the minimum damage to the organization. Plan your response and prepare to meet the interviewer. Scenario number 2, internal negotiation. You are a team member The other role player is your superior. You have worked for this department for 4 years, having worked for your superior for the last 2 years. The work is very enjoyable. However, you get very little training opportunities from your superior. And you are very keen to get on. Lots of promises are made. However, nothing seems to get done. There is always an excuse. Your friend, who does a similar job for a different superior, always seems to get plenty of opportunities for local and foreign studies. You are determined to tackle your superior about this. An opportunity has just cropped up to sit down with him. Your task is to influence your supervisor to grant you more training opportunities. Make sure you get a firm commitment from him. Scenario number 3. First line manager role play. For first line managerial positions, in the typical role play scenario, you will be asked to play the position of someone very similar to what you would expect on the job itself. For example, you are asked to play the part of a unit director. You will have to meet one of your subordinates who is having problems in their work ethic and quality. These issues include lack of attention to detail, not following organizational procedures, and not optimizing individual performance. You have to give the subordinate correct feedback, explaining where he or she are going wrong, while at the same time, you have to motivate him or her to do the job in the manner more required. You will be given a brief with all the information needed to answer any questions and comments that may come up. Scenario number 4. Executive role play. These role play exercises are geared to the highest level of managers. For example, you will be asked to take the position of a department secretary. You have to meet one of your regional directors, someone who will actually be an assessor, who is having difficulties with some of the staff under his or her direction. You have to show that you can give advice on molding the team together in order to develop it to be of a higher standard. This role play simulates a meeting where you, as the senior official, have to coach and coax a subordinate manager to achieve the best they can. Although you are given a brief which you will need to refer to, as it contains valuable facts and figures that you will need to bring up, the main part of the exercise is to show how you deal interpersonally with the assessor. Some other possible scenarios: poor work performance results, environmental issues, or grievance issues. What is the best way to approach the SES RPE? Out of all the activities during an assessment center, the exercise candidates most frequently rated as the most feared or most hated is the role play assessment. The need to act and the fact that the scenarios being assessed are not real life seem to evoke strong reactions from candidates, and many struggle or fail because of their own fear rather than their ability. Here are tips on how to ace this exercise in specific areas of assessment. On negotiation, the assessor actor, having been given a brief they have to follow, often try to reach an outcome different to the one your brief gives. The challenge is to negotiate your way to an amicable resolution in this fictional situation. Stress management. The assessor actor will try to push you into challenging situations but not to outright provoke you. The actor will deliberately be awkward but will also respond well to tactful, sympathetic negotiation. The theory goes, just like in real life, the actor will have to be equally recalcitrant to every candidate to make it fair. In many ways, the role play exercises are more difficult for the assessor actor than for the candidate. On initiative. Before your role play exercise, you normally get 15 minutes to read the background information and to prepare. Use this time to preempt possible arguments the role player might choose and their possible responses. Make sure you understand the brief and think about strategies for achieving the outcome your fictional character wants. Before you walk into the room, get your mind into character, otherwise, you will appear flustered. On effective verbal communication. Walk into the role play exercise positive and cheery. You want to project a positive attitude to what might be a fractious conversation. Start with social pleasantries and try to establish rapport with the assessor actor instead of taking a hard line from the up. You will score marks for reducing the friction and keeping the situation amicable. You will also come across well if you end the role play exercise by reaffirming anything you think you agreed with the assessor actor. It is also too easy to shy away from bringing up contentious issues again. But before you leave the room, you want to consolidate all that hard bargaining you did. On judgment, you will complain, but I am no actor. Some candidates come away from the role play exercise disappointed, and it seemed to be an acting exercise. You will not do yourself any favors by complaining to the assessors about this, as they were probably the ones who spent lots of time carefully designing the exercise. Always take the assessor actors seriously and always address them as the fictional character they are playing. Rest assured that most assessor actors are professional enough to make candidates forget they are in a fictional scenario and allow the candidate to focus on deciding how to handle the situation. Even if role-play exercises do require a degree of getting into character, unfortunately, there is no better way to accurately assess how you behave in a difficult situation, short of getting you to deal with a real angry client. Summary. In Chapter 13 of the ebook, we discuss in detail the tips on performing well in this exercise. Always keep them in mind as they are always applicable in the RPE. The tips we added to your tips bank in this lesson is a form of supplementation. While we touch on similar tips in the ebook, we also introduce new ones that will add power to your weaponry. Our objective now is how are we going to use these weapons during the simulation of the RPE. The greater challenge lies in choosing the best scenario that will allow you to use your full arsenal. Not only that, such simulation must be applicable to all the rest of the possible scenarios. Will this be possible? Let us find out in the next very interesting lesson.